It's 7:30. I'd like to call this Borough of Green Tree Council meeting for Monday, October 6th, 2025 to order. Okay, well, welcome for coming tonight. We have a large crowd tonight. So good evening. Before we begin tonight, our agenda also will have a community pride presentation honoring two of our officers. But before we begin, I want to take a moment to recognize that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And though I have never met a person who is not aware of breast cancer, there's still a time set aside to honor those we've lost, stand with those currently fighting, and commit ourselves to ways of raising awareness around early detection and access to care. This issue is deeply personal to me. Am I getting emotional? I'm sorry. I am a breast cancer survivor, and it was thanks to routine mammograms that my cancer was caught early. That early detection saved my life, but I'm also a caretaker for my mother, who is currently undergoing treatment for stage 4 breast cancer because her diagnosis was not caught early because she did not keep up with her annual mammograms. Our family is the illustration of what can go well when the diagnosis is found early, and what can also happen when it is not detected soon enough. Over the past year, I've had many conversations with members in our community, some who are sitting in this room right now, who have also been touched by this disease as patients, survivors, caregivers, and as loved ones. Their stories are powerful, even when they're quiet, and they are reminders that breast cancer is not just a statistic. It is a reality that affects countless families each and every day. I share this not for sympathy, but as a reminder that mammograms save lives. If you are eligible, please schedule one. Encourage people that you care about to do the same. Awareness, action, and access to screening can make all the difference. So thank you for allowing me to share this today. Let us continue to support one another with compassion and information and action. And please rise for our moment of reflection and the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Miss Demi,
Here.
Miss House,
Here.
Mr. Panza,
Here.
Mr. Ray,
Here.
Miss Schwartz, Mr. Tintori,
Emily, you're still moving. All right, we'll continue.
Miss Barron,
Here.
Mayor Shank,
President.
You want to use my phone? There's nothing else to offer to. Yep, there you go. I can send it. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so moving on, can we have the approval of the minutes? We need a motion.
So
We have a motion to approve the minutes for September 8th, 2025. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. Do we have any discussion or questions? Okay, we have no discussion or questions. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any abstain? Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much. And next we are moving on to our hearing of our citizens. Please come up to speak to the microphone. When you come up to the microphone, please say your name, your full name and your address.
Hi, Robert Godovic, 10 Crestmont Drive. I just wanted to bring a question. I don't know if this has been discussed or reviewed by council before or not. The Green Tree Road crossing between Banbury and Crestmont sits at the crest of a hill. I've lived in that neighborhood for 30+ years. It's always a dangerous spot. I know that whether it's the state or the borough has placed street crossing signs in the center of the street. If I had $1 for every time they've been run over, I could have put in my own crossing sign. But I did notice that near the VP and also up near Dan Deasy's office, we have automated crossing signs with lights and more notice for people walking. There are an awful lot of people that cross Green Tree Road up there near Banbury. Dog walkers all the time, families that want to go to the nature center from the other side of Green Tree Road. People like myself who go to the bus stop, kids at the bus stop as well. So I don't know if it's been considered be in the budget, but I really think that we ought to look at putting a similar lighted crossing on Green Tree Road between Banbury and Crestmont.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I'll be addressing that in my report tonight.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Lynn Sapatko, 186 Sheldon. Judy, you and I had communicated in the last few days about the Wolf Company sign. I don't know if there's anybody here who has the same interest tonight, but would you mind just recapping what we communicated about for anybody here that might be interested?
Sure. Of course.
Thanks.
So you were nice enough to share some additional pictures of the wolf sign that you can see from your home on Sheldon. And as I responded back to you, we continue to have conversations with the wolf representatives as recently as last week, and some additional information came in on Friday. And all of that is being reviewed by our engineers who are serving as our code officer, zoning officer at the time, and that's what was called for in the variance letter from the zoning hearing board. They deferred any brightness issues to the zoning officer. So that's the process that we're following right now, and I'll keep in touch with you as we, reach a conclusion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Tammy Feeney, 55 Rhodes Avenue. I've been up here a number of times speaking on two different subjects. One, the pool, of course, and the other one is the overnight parking. I've discussed this is probably my fourth time speaking about it, and I feel as if we have some good communication when I'm here, and then I leave and it's over. So I don't feel like anyone is honestly putting forth any efforts into getting answers for me. I felt like there was some valid points that some people made in the audience a few months ago. My schedule doesn't allow for me to be here every Monday, but as you see, I ran in the door here and I'll be running back out, and I don't like that. I'll watch it on video when I can, but I have a very, very busy schedule. So I just don't want to have to continue to bring it up. I mean, if it's a moot point, it's a moot point, but you are leading me to believe that it is an issue that that I have valid points. And well, I have construction, you guys probably seen a couple times in the last 3 days. I had to park on the street and I didn't get any tickets or anything, because we did the call in or whatever, because I have work being done on my house, but it is an issue. It's not a big deal, I don't think, to allow us to park out there, and I would like someone to address it, because it seems like it's addressed. And we move like baby steps. I'm like, oh, I think, I go home and tell the kids, oh, I think we're gonna be okay. And then I have to come back, and not that you don't want to see me, but, and vice versa. But I just kind of want some answers, and not just now. I want someone to say something, and then I want it further looked into, or just say, no, lady, I'm not doing it. I just need something. I don't wanna, I just continue, bringing it up and you guys act like, yes, maybe this is a thing, and then I have to come back, and have to come back, and have to come back. So can anyone bring anything to this issue? Anyone have any comments?
Well, we talked about it in public safety and we couldn't reach consensus on doing it. Lieutenant or Acting Chief Rannigan also shared some concerns. Acting Chief Rannigan, we're talking about overnight parking on Rhodes Avenue in the parking lane. If there's anything that you might want to add to that.
I personally say it's a bad idea to extend any exceptions to the rule. This is a point of contention, it has been since I've been here, it's been the rule since I've been here. But I also see the potential for numerous parking problems that would occur if we made an exception to this specific part of the road. We make an exception for there, then everybody else wants an exception. And then we also have a problem with people taking what they would designate as their own spots. Because they live there, maybe they feel that they're entitled to that spot more than somebody down the street. We also have parking issues which we deal with fairly regular with the, can you hear me?
You come up to the microphone.
Sure. We have parking issues at that baseball park due to limited parking. We address those issues routinely, and that's people parking too close to the stop sign or too close to the intersections. There's really no way to stop that other than enforcement, and unfortunately, the transient groups that come through, they're not residents, so they don't know, they get a ticket, they move on, they don't come back again. So that really doesn't solve the problem, but if you take those spots away, then we're gonna have additional problems where those spots are taken permanently. But I do fully believe that if we make an exception for that part of the roadway, then of course the folks down the street are gonna want an exception because they should be able to park there and they should be able to park here. So that's my opinion.
Thank you.
Can I piggyback?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm actually glad you're here so that like we can get each other's point of view. The only thing that I'm thinking of is, well, one, I know it's not my spot. Like, I know it's not my spot and I can't claim that spot. But that is the only road in the borough that basically has 3 lanes. It doesn't interfere with emergency vehicles. It doesn't interfere with snow removal. If anything, and we spoke before, I mean, everyone was here, about the disadvantage that I have because I have to get up. If like I have anyone over, I have to get up and move every vehicle I own and take all of those spots before the soccer field is full. And like, that is all day, like I had to have, I'm gross. So anyway, I'm digging, I had to have like vehicles like on my lawn and all kind of stuff. And I had no room because from like, I don't know, 8:45 until early afternoon, it's full of, soccer families. And I'm not, I was one of them, but I just had to walk. So I get that, but having 3 lanes, I don't think anyone else in the borough can, say, well, they have it on road. Well, you don't have 3 lanes. Like, I don't think that is a valid fight for another person. Now, if they live on Sheldon, they want to park there, have at it. It's not my spot. It's not people that directly live across from the ball field spot. It is just a road that does not have restricted parking, whether that be someone on Sheldon or someone wherever. I mean, I don't know. Does that make sense? So, I mean, I can't ever claim it. It doesn't have, it's not like at, when you go to a parking spot, it has your number, like at your work, where I'm number 76. It's just, it's there for whoever wants to use it. Sure.
No, you're fine. It's obviously varying opinions and different experiences. Because my experience tells me that when you start making exceptions to the rules, then it just snowballs into more and more and more. Yes, that is a unique such circumstance in that roadway in this borough. There isn't too many places that have that. But also behind most of the houses on Rhodes Avenue, on both sides, there's an alley which has rear access to those houses, which almost anybody else, I think there's one other roadway that has private traffic behind them. They can attest to that and say, well, they have parking behind their house. I have told countless people countless times, over and over again, when they complain about parking. there is not enough driveways to supply most of the households with current status. When the town was built in the fifties and the forties, one car was it. Now people have 4 or 5 cars, so what do I tell them? You have to find a solution. This is what the law is. And if you want to, you can put in a parking pad once you get it permitted. And many people have done that, and they've spent a lot of money digging up their yard, putting in a concrete pad, asphalt pad, some all-weather surface that then complies with the laws that we currently have. So we have, I think we do an excellent job in the police department with accommodating the needs for overnight parking. We really, the guys will go out and enforce it on a nightly basis, but we don't hammer people. We're understanding if you're having your driveway repaired or something. We have common sense to know, all right, what are we gonna do? But I do know that if you open this up, you very may well know the rules and understand common courtesy. But it doesn't mean the rest of the tenants or the next person who buys your house, because once you own it, that's it. And I assure you, when you say, well, I have an exception over here, person lives in the cul-de-sac. Well, there's only 4 houses down there. Why can't I park down there? Oh, well, I have this over here. I have that. That's just the rules. And I think that if we start changing them, you're just asking for those invitations for more problems. That's all.
My thought would be, we need to answer this, to put it on the agenda for November, let's just vote, have council vote on it on the November, whether permit parking or not permit parking, and go from there. That way you can get your answer, and we bring it to a head in November. Yes. Thank you.
I guess one more thing, has nothing to do.
Go ahead.
I just, last thing, has nothing to do with what,
That's fine.
we're going back and forth with. So I looked into, additional parking for my residents. And, I would have had to, like, I don't even know what it's this code or whatever that, cause I wanted to put, because like everyone past me has a driveway leading up, I live right across from home plate, like leading up to their house. And I was like, okay, I'll just get rid of my sidewalk and like make my sidewalk and then extend it over by my neighbors and then go like that. But I had to like, I couldn't do it unless I like applied for some kind of special, I don't know, something special to, and then I was gonna have to pay extra money, like, I'm trying to like resolve the problem and I'm being forced to pay extra money to, am I correct in saying that?
Depending on,
As opposed to attaching it to an existing driveway. Is that correct?
depending on where you would want your driveway.
Like my driveway right now is in the back.
Right, but if you wanted to put it up front, if it didn't meet the certain requirements for driveways according to the ordinance, then you would have to get a variance to be able to build that driveway.
And I'd have to like write a letter and like.
Go to the zoning hearing board.
Like everyone else. Okay, well, I have no idea, I was just trying to figure it out, but I just felt like I'm trying to remedy it. By going ahead and doing it like that, and then I'm like, having to pay more money to like, and more time, just cause I can't just put it in the front. I just can't, like, I'm trying to fix it by putting it a driveway in the front, and I have to like do all these things in order to. I mean, it's not aesthetically, it helps the neighbor, I mean, it's not like making a junkyard, I'm not throwing down pebbles, nice driveway. Thank you. Yep.
Don Galt, Fire Chief, 825 Poplar Street. I talked to Judy about this, so Shaycog is offering a firefighter 101 for council. One of them, I talked to Ms. Miller about this, and she wanted to go through, but she was fine, because she was a little claustrophobic. Everybody got this, I'm assuming, from council, read it, email, no?
I don't know.
What Shaycog is doing is they're offering 101 and it's showing you the life of what we do. Mount Lebanon they have a burn building and all that, high rise. And what they want to do, this is coming from the Shaycog Fire Advisory Board. And on Thursday, November 6th, they're inviting, of course, it was the manager and maybe one of the council people to come participate. Which would be put on gear, put on SCBA's, going in line fire, kind of car park, just to see what we do and what we go through. And the trials and tributes of what we need.
When is it?
It is November 6th, Thursday, 9 AM to 2 PM.
Deadline is October 24th. You would have to go through, there's a little QR code you'd have to go through. Plus you would have to talk to me, because we would have to get you suited up, make sure you can put a pack on and not freak out. But you don't have to do everything then, so, I mean, it's a good opportunity, you'll see the smoke, feel the heat. I mean, it's good experience for, but we're opening up to any council person.
And Ron did stop in by, so I apologize.
You didn't know.
I forgot to send it to.
Okay.
I'll send it to him first thing in the morning though.
That's fine, yeah, they can read it. Like I said, October 24th is the deadline. If anybody would be interested in doing that, come in. You wanna do it? That's fine. We're gonna have it's on Tuesday night, you're gonna have to come up. We'll get you suited up. Like I said, it's all day. What we're gonna do is run through some scenarios, throwing ladders, going to attack fire, those line advancements, cut cars apart. You're not gonna be by yourself. One of our members will be going with you. I don't know who that is at this time. I gotta set that up. I had to see who wanted it. But it's up to two. We can go up to 2 people. We need to get this in so we can have a head count and not an overhead. So if anybody would like to do that, please contact me. Judy will give you all my information.
I'll send that email.
But yeah, we can Tuesday night or something, or we can make it an off night. Set you up with some gear, do some practicals with you with packs on and all that to see, make sure you're comfortable. But appreciate your time and would love to see you guys go and see what
Yeah,
we
that's
do.
really awesome.
All right, thank you guys.
You got it. Thank you.
Lisa Shea, Elmhurst Road. I have several issues. One is that I've been in this neighborhood 17 years and I've been walking the cemetery and the nature center twice a day for the last 17 years. I'm not sure what happened this past summer and what's still happening, or should I say not happening. But as far as the grass cutting goes, in the cemetery especially, there was one time it was extremely overgrown and there were 2 teenage kids during the summer that one was cutting around the gravestones with a weed whacker and the other was cutting the grass with a weed whacker. The next day I went back and I would think the whole thing was gonna be taken care of, but this little patch of space, these 2 kids with weed whackers, whatever they could do that day was it. The cemetery has not been kept up at all, nor has the plateau. And as far as the swing set area, it is at this moment 50% riddled with weeds. I've never seen that before this year. Also, I have mentioned in past meetings that on the trail, there are railroad ties with the iron spikes. They are extremely disintegrated and some of the spikes are sticking out of the ground about 5-6 inches. Now, the whole reason for the steps when you enter the trail, especially where the swing set is because the grade is so steep. But if the railroad ties are so disintegrated, chances are likely you're gonna fall, and who wants to fall on an exposed railroad spike sticking out of the ground? So I say rip it out, and if you don't want to install new railroad ties, fine, but rip out what's there because what's there is dangerous. So I've mentioned this before, nothing happened. I'm hoping something happens today. But especially the swing set area, it's all riddled with weeds. But I've never, like I said, in 17 years, I've never seen such poor grass cutting in the cemetery. And I'm at the point now, the cemetery, as soon as I get on the sidewalk on Green Tree Road, I take off my socks and shoes and get rid of all those little prickly things that, accumulate in your socks and shoes. So it's not enjoyable to walk through anymore. I don't understand what happened with the grass cutting, but I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation. If not, I hope it changes next year. Second is a couple budget issues, and we're hitting rewind here because I remember like we were handing out budget documents today. I remember scrutinizing them in the past. Halloween last year, somebody that works at the borough charged for mileage to go to Costco and get some candy. I'm gonna bet my dog's life on it that every borough member either has a Costco or Sam's Club membership. Why can't you pick it up while you're there? Why are you charging the borough for mileage? So if somebody's gonna charge again at the borough, again, charge the taxpayers money for mileage to go to a store they probably go to weekly anyway, I would be more than happy to pick up the candy myself. We're not talking a lot of money, but when you add up all these budget issues that could be avoided or depleted, I just think it needs to be brought to your attention. Having said that, I remember the same budget, I saw a charge for, a line dancing instructor. We paid her a little over $300, but there was a watercolor instructor that was paid over $3,000. And I learned that everybody who partakes in this class pays for their own supplies. So if this is Bob Ross teaching us how to make happy trees, that's one thing. But why are we paying over $3,000 for an instructor to teach an adult continuing education class? The math doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Maybe there's a reasonable explanation for that. But line dancing instructor, 300, and a watercolor instructor over $3,000. That just, it sounds illogical to me, and I would love to hear, an explanation as to why that is. Those who pass through Green Tree Road is a main artery. And a lot of the people who live there keep up their houses real nice, and it's just a reflection of our borough. We currently have a vacant house, and we all know the house. It's at the end of Green Lawn and Green Tree Road. It seems like everybody's begging and groveling the borough to just cut the grass until the sheriff's sale, until somebody buys the house. Now, Lance DeWeese, the president of our volunteer fire department, he lives across the street down a few houses, and he did the right thing. I wish he didn't, because it's not his responsibility, nor should he incur the expense and the time it takes, but he took it upon himself to cut the grass because the borough's not taking care of it. So I think that's something that moving forward, we should stop asking the borough to do, and it's just something that should be done until the house is sold. I mean, it's at the corner. When you enter the neighborhood, it looks lousy. When you drive through our charming little Green Tree Borough, it looks lousy. It could take 10 minutes to cut the grass. I just don't understand why the borough's not taking it upon themselves to do it, and why neighbors are taking it upon themselves to do it. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to bring up was this. Regarding the Green Tree Democratic Committee. I sent you all an email recently, and I'm not surprised I didn't get a response
That's
back.
not borough business. We're not allowed to discuss that tonight.
It's not borough
It
business.
is not borough business.
Okay, then I can discuss with you afterwards why you haven't responded, or the lack of transparency with your committee.
It's not borough business. Thank you. Do you have anything else borough related tonight?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Christopher Allen from 996 Green Tree Road, 1000 Green Tree Road, and 252 Parkage. I just have a quick question about recreation. There's a wreath making class that has been very highly sought after for the past several years. I volunteered my time to teach the wreath making as well as the bow making, and it was in danger of not happening this year. This question is for all of council, particularly Ms. Miller. I'm taking over the entire finance for that this year. The only thing I'm not paying for is the wreaths. I am putting forth about $800 to make sure that that is as successful as it can possibly be. Is this something we're going to look forward to in the future, where recreational programs are unfunded or not funded for?
So I would suggest the reason why it was terminated this year is because Jen found the costs to be somewhat cost prohibitive.
Okay.
So the cost to run the program, I don't know if these are the numbers, I'll just say.
Okay.
The cost to run the program was maybe $2,500, and the registration fees were, say, $1,000. So there was a deficiency there.
For the wreath making class, it was $2,500.
I said that.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
It
That's
was,
really high.
it was in the room.
Okay.
It continued from Brett because it's very,
Do we have
the
anything
supplies
budgeted?
are expensive, it's evidenced by the fact that you're not willing to do it.
Yeah.
And she, I believe I spoke with her again today, she talked to you.
Mhm.
I got a message Friday afternoon, called her, she said she got in touch with you right away, so we certainly do appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think the problem is it just became expensive and I was losing money.
Do we have a budget for any of those recreational things? I know there was an issue with the senior picnic as well, I believe, until the last meeting.
Senior picnic doesn't make any money, that's a completely free program that's offered to the seniors.
Then this would be a recreational program offered to the citizens, correct?
So a wreath making class, I guess maybe I look at it a little bit differently. When you walk home with a big wreath for your door. I don't know that that should be funded by taxpayers' dollars.
It's not, it's just the decor that's funded. They actually pay a registration for.
Yeah, they
to be there.
do, and Jen didn't think that I'll just say, the coordinator did not believe, the program would be as popular if she raised the fee to cover the cost.
Oh, it would have been like $85, which is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they are coming home with a wreath and they're really nice wreaths from what I understand.
You should come this year. I'll pay for your. You can see how it's like, it's just, the thing is, the borough that I grew up in.
Yeah.
I've been here 37 years. The recreational portion of our borough it could not be more important.
Right.
The things that we offer our residents, the activities, all of the things that's all wrapped into the wreath making, the light up night, things like that. The wreath making may be the only thing that they pay towards, but it's so important to have those things in our community. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm helping with it, because I
And
feel like
sincerely
it's
appreciate
important.
it. That's why I called her.
Yeah.
Right away and told her to get in touch with me.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, and we did have a brief conversation about this at the Council Recreation Committee, and it's really comes down to a philosophy. Do we as a borough want to continue to? We do underwrite a lot of programs that are above the question.
Yeah.
You know, summer rec, senior picnic, obviously. Those are things that just cost us money. There's no money coming back. We're not making money. Some of them are a lot more expensive than others.
Yeah.
When we get into programs where people are actually, again, walking away with something, or coming and making a wreath that's
Yeah.
expensive, you know, is that something that the taxpayers should be funding? And for me, it doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't matter to me, I'm just, from the philosophy of borough management.
Yeah.
Is that what we want to do? And as I said to the committee, if that's what we want to do, because that's what makes Green Tree, then we do it.
Yeah.
Just so everybody understands, you know, a lot of times these things aren't problems until, you know, we come to the community with a tax increase and they're like, well, what are we spending our money on? And why are we spending our money on this? And why are we spending our money on that? You know, again, if the council is okay with subsidizing those things, and we're gonna have a little bit more clear write up on it. I think in the past we did maybe, you know, we're gonna have a full breakdown of all the programs that make money, programs that don't make money. We don't have any of it.
That's the only thing.
Why are we talking about profit centers? We
Yeah.
talk about recreation.
We're
We're not in the business
not
to make money. You keep using the term making
The
money.
bottom line is,
I
if we have to raise taxes because of a big class, we're in big trouble somewhere.
No,
Okay,
you.
too many people talking at once.
It-
Mr. Cox, can you please finish first?
Yeah.
Then we'll hear from Mr. Ray, Mr. Hansa. and-
I guess my bottom line is, you know, we mentioned taxes potentially going up because of a $300 wreath making cost, so it is what it is, but at the end of the day. The wreath making class and everything else, because this is how it begins and runs. It starts with the wreath making class. Then it moves on to we shorten different activities. Then because again, like Mr. Ray said, a borough is not for profit. We pay taxes so that these things can happen. If it's something as minuscule, again, as a wreath making class, which I'm investing $300. That's the total that I'm tapping out at, and I was able to get everything for it. Now, I don't know if before I was there 5 years ago, there was filet mignon being served or something that I wasn't privy to. But I can tell you that we literally have Trader Joe's artichoke dip and sometimes chips. They're a little out of date, but we're fine with it. So that's where we're at. And it's silly that we are removing these things that everybody holds so dear. I think last year we moved to the gym, which was a godsend because we had like 20 extra people than we've ever had. So I hope that we can continue with traditions like these because they make Green Tree great. So that's all I want. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, so my comment was, no, you did say that they're not making money or we're losing money on them. I don't understand why when we talk about recreation, that even comes into mind. We create a budget to fund those programs. And then the recreation committee led by Mr. Pangus should be making the decisions on what to keep and what to get rid of. We had one meeting so far this year,
Yes,
last month, talk about that.
yes, and Mr. Allen, I think when I give the results of our meeting, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ray and Mr. Penzo. Council does not get into the inner workings of what the committees decide to do. We don't make those decisions. We vote on how much money gets given to that work, but how that is spent is really up to, in this case, Jen and what she wants to do, and the committee might have some input, like Ron's committee would have.
Is there a budget for it though? Like, that's like a fundamental question. Budget money for it?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rec committee would have, yeah, it's their, you know, we vote on that money, and then how they spend it is up to them. We do not go into those.
So it could potentially just be a budgeting issue as well.
It might be,
Okay, all right. That makes sense. I deal with budgets
All the time.
unfortunately every day.
yes.
But it should be.
Yeah.
I did forget one, probably the most important action item. So it is hurricane season and then it will be again in the spring. And some of you on council, may remember about 6-7 years ago when we had that natural disaster of a storm and a lot of people flooded, and it resulted in the borough installing backflow valves in many of the homes, including mine, because my garage is below grade. So what I've understood with my research is that once upon a time, Green Tree was farmland and trees, hence Green Tree. And throughout the decades, as time went on, permit after permit was issued to build a house here, to build a house there, and Green Tree evolved from farmland and mostly green pastures to an overdeveloped residential community. No problem with that, except for the fact that we're expected as homeowners to be compliant with our plumbing and our lines that go out to the street. But then let's talk about the borough's responsibility for their plumbing lines, which we all know are 4-inch terracotta pipes that are antiquated and cannot handle the storms we're having. We're having 100-year storms once or twice a year now. So the civil engineers that have worked for the borough throughout the decades are supposed to do calculations and formulas to determine if they should keep continuing giving out permits to build houses that have sewage, rainwater, and say, wait a minute, our pipes can't handle all of this growth. We have to stop giving out building permits and we have to stop developing until we, the borough, make good on our responsibility to the citizens and make sure our plumbing infrastructure is adequate enough to handle this growth. But that didn't happen. The borough is more than happy to issue permit after permit and collect all the tax dollars. And then now that we're at a point where we are pretty much fully developed and we are having 100-year storms once or twice a year, we're learning that the borough's lines and a lot of the homeowners' lines can't handle this storm, the storms and the heavy storms like we had 7 years ago. So I was on Nextdoor, the web page Nextdoor, and there was a citizen of Green Tree whose house flooded, not because her lines weren't to code, but because the borough's lines weren't to code. And she brought that up to the borough and she was basically told to go down salt. We can't help you, it's not our fault. I strongly disagree. I'd like to go on record tonight saying that the borough does have a responsibility. It doesn't matter if the civil engineer from the 60s, 70s, 80s, well, he or she doesn't work here anymore. Well, that's not a get out of jail card. That doesn't solve the problem. The borough has a responsibility now. So if you can't update the plumbing infrastructure, at least don't slam the door in the face of the homeowner whose house flooded as a result of the borough lines being antiquated and not sufficient enough to handle the weather that we're having. So I feel that the borough dropped the ball throughout all the decades and the last how many years that our lovely community has developed. They shouldn't have issued all these permits for all this development. Calculations and formulas, it all comes down to that. They knew that the lines can't handle it. Nobody really foresaw the storms and how frequent they are now, back in the day, but we know what we know now. But moving forward, I would like for the borough and council and the borough manager to not slam the door in the face of a homeowner whose house flooded. And it's not their fault, it's the borough's fault. And to say, well, you know, our lines aren't, you know, sufficient enough or give them double talk, that's not good enough. Because you're going to start getting more people as these storms keep happening and people's houses keep flooding. You're going to get people coming to you looking for you to be responsible. And I just want to go on record tonight, letting you know, borough pipes, not up to date, not up to code. So when a member of the community floods, you should open up your door and sit down and say, how can I help you? Not tell them to go consult. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Go ahead, come on up.
All right, Mary Ann Walsh, 1079 Tomato Drive. I'll try to be brief. I know council was looking into the deer population problem, and I haven't heard anything of where those discussions are going.
There's a meeting.
But I have a report tonight about that.
Okay. And then also on the issue of the storm rainwater runoff, we have that problem in our yard, back of our yard at Tomato and the backyards at Dale Drive with the stormwater runoff. The engineer came down there and the borough came down there to look at it, but I haven't heard anything of what.
Yes, actually, we continued the conversation on, there's kind of two different issues over there. There's the swale behind the homes on Dale. And then there's also the collection, source down at the basin, and specifications are being finalized so that we can get that work completed quickly. Little bit of a challenge for the swale because of the size of the equipment, what needs to be done back there, and accessing it from private properties. There's a lot of fences back there. So that's a little bit of a challenge, but it is active, very much in progress. So
Okay, if I can help at all with the access to people's yards. Well,
your backyard's pretty tough.
Yeah, that's not a problem. On the issue of the classes, the discussion of the classes, I thought that most of, maybe the rec board can answer this, I thought that most of the classes, the money that is paid out to the instructors are the fees that people pay to attend the classes. So really the borough is not paying for the classes.
Actually, you're correct. Most of those classes like watercolor and dancing, those are like the fees cover the instructor.
Nice. Thank you for clarifying that. Sure.
Thank you. I'm seeing. Oh, that one's.
Aldo R. Colati, 143 Sheldon Avenue, 15220. Regarding the upcoming interviews for the council vacancy that's on the agenda for this evening, I expect that the interviews for that position will be conducted in the same fashion that the vacancy for the November 14th, 2024 council interviews. It'll be the same process, specifically that the number of candidates and the names of the candidates will be disclosed in advance by posting on bulletin boards and on the website, and that the citizenry who are invited to the meeting will know in advance the time schedule, how much time is being allotted, this person having an interview at this time, this person having an interview at that time, knowing all the names so that we could do research on who the council candidates are, I spoke about this, at a meeting when the, prior council interviews were done. I referenced the October 7th, 2024, meeting, the November 14th, 2024, council vacancy interviews were conducted that way, but the earlier ones that were conducted on September 30th, 2024, they were done without, disclosing the names of the candidates, or the times for the interview. And so I would hope the process that was done on November 14th, 2024 will be done again. And, thank you very much.
Can I address, we were talking about maybe changing all the way we interview slightly, whereas the last interview, we interviewed individual candidates at different times with the same question. That presented a problem where people that were waiting for their interview could attend publicly and hear the questions prior, which gave a disadvantage to the first candidate. So we were thinking we might try a simultaneous questionnaire.
This week.
Who's talked about this?
The committee, we talked all about it.
There's no, I was, you didn't bring it up.
We talked all about it.
What
The
committee?
rec committee. And
Well,
Andy
we-
talked about-
Well, we've had one rec committee meeting.
Yeah, we have not.
Hold on, wait, Judy, please, we talked about how can candidate A come in and say, okay, our question is, what do you think about borough financing? When candidate B is sitting right there, and then they know in half an hour, they're gonna have the same question. We talked about having.
Don't say we, because I was in.
You might have discussed it, but it's not.
If I may just say for clarification, I think potentially Ron might have brought it up at the end of one of the discussions that maybe we should think about. So maybe it wasn't a discussion.
There was no discussion about
Okay,
this.
and I may have brought it up after the interview section, but we did talking about it.
You might have brought up, we're not gonna argue this back and forth.
Okay.
I do have an update for that when we get to that part. of the
Okay,
meeting.
could I just respond to that briefly?
Absolutely, please do.
Okay. My issue is not regarding the questions that the candidates are asked or how you conduct the interviews in terms of the questioning of the candidates, whether you want them here, whether you don't want them here. I just request, as the last time, that the names of the candidates be disclosed with a time schedule and we know how many there are.
Well, let me ask you then, what, if we had 5 candidates, rather than give them each times, if we had all 5 candidates at once, sitting here, asking them a question, what do you think of that process?
I think so.
That would be, that would be up to you. I don't have a
Thank you
problem.
very
with
much,
that.
Mr. Klein.
I don't have a problem with that kind of a situation.
Okay.
My concern is that the borough residents know the names of the people who are under consideration
Agreed.
and that we know a time, schedule to expect, who's
Yes.
going to be interviewed when. But most importantly, do we know the names and how many
Thank
in
you.
advance?
Yes,
And that it be published on the website.
I'll have an update on how that works.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you very
Because
much.
I would prefer it to be conducted the way it was the second time around and not the first.
I appreciate
And if
that.
anybody has any further questions on that, they can look in the past meeting minutes for both the September 30th, 2024 council interview and November 14th, 2024. And then I spoke at the October 7th, 2024.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hi, Russ Barron, Pocono Drive. I wanted to address the deer question that's been coming up recently. I understand via some of the posts that Mr. Ray has made, some other commentary from others in the community, that there's a game warden presentation coming in. And to me, that speaks like we might be allowing or considering the allowance of hunting of the deer in the borough.
No, that's not what it means.
Okay.
Dear man.
Clarification would be great.
Yeah, it's in my report.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Christine Short, 251 Park Edge. I just want this on record that I brought up the deer population about a year and a half ago. Mr. Panza was supposed to have a committee together and it just seemed like he let that fall.
No, we started committed.
Somebody else,
Started a committee.
gave it, so thank you.
Yes, I've asked Mr. Ray to take it over, thank you.
Thank you.
I volunteered.
Yeah, and I agree that it needs to be taken over. We're on the same page with this one. Doesn't happen often, but it
That's two in a row,
does.
two in a row, we disagreed with Ron and
I mean, like I said, like, broken clock is wrong twice a day, so he can get through it.
we agreed that we disagree with Ron.
My yard is getting torn apart.
Ours too, I hear you, for sure. Okay, yeah.
I should add it on line with the deer population. I would like the Borough Council to consider an ordinance that prohibits feeding of wildlife.
Yeah.
Specific
I've
ordinance
mentioned that
with
before.
a fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's part of what will be discussed on the 20th. That is typically, and I did discuss this in a previous meeting, that is typically the first line of defense that they request. And we'll hear more on the 20th. They will explain that. I have sat through those presentations before. I brought forth that information back. And that is typically it, and partly because if you feed them, they will come.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's not a one and done situation ever, so we'll learn more. Anyone else? Okay, we will move on to our community pride presentation. Mayor Shank, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to call Officer Zane, please come forward. And you're welcome to stand or sit, but I'm going to read a presentation here. You can do either or, it's your choice. So very proud to read this presentation. Acting Chief Rannigan wrote this about an incident. On Monday, September 1st, 2025 at 10:20 a.m., Officer Zane and Officer Bocci were dispatched to the intersection of Crestmont and Hillcrest with a report of a 68-year-old male with chest pain and shortness of breath. While responding, they were advised the patient was in the Green Tree Nature Center. The officers were met by the person who called, who advised them of the patient's status and location. The male was sitting on the bench just inside the nature center, and when the officers were approaching him, the male was unconscious. The officers found that the male was not breathing and he did not have a pulse. They immediately moved him to the ground and connected the AED. The officers administered a shock with the AED to the male, and they were able to determine his pulse was returned. When emergency medics arrived on the scene, the officers continued to assist as needed. The male regained consciousness and was transported to St. Clair Hospital. It was learned that the male had to undergo surgery, but is expected to make a full recovery. And this is Officer Acting Chief Rannigan's word. There's no question that the officer's quick and decisive efforts saved the man's life. We are proud of Officer Singh and Officer Bocci's professional life-saving actions. We recognize their commendable efforts, and we're proud to have them as part of our police force. There's also a second letter. John Fisher used to be the commanding chief of the borough of the city of Pittsburgh. He also wrote a letter to us because he was there. This was his friend. He said the officers arrived quickly, acted decisively, with professionalism and compassion. They saved my friend's life. Officers Zayden and Bocci, through their actions, bring credit upon themselves, the Green Tree Police Department, and the Borough of Green Tree. Officers Zayden and Bocci should be duly recognized for their life-saving actions. So Officer Bocci, he could not attend tonight. He's actually he's out of the country, but we have excellent officers here, but I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, and we're gonna put this in their personnel file. Just gonna shake the officer's hand. After the hearing is finished, he must get back to work. He didn't say that, he did say he wanted to get back. Thank you, and thank you, Acting Chief Radigan for writing that and putting it. Were made great, and thank you for coming to support it. Everybody.
Thank you. And we are moving on to our new business and committee chair reports. Up first, we do have we have to accept the resignation of Mr. Tintori. Mr. Hans is gonna quote for that.
Yes, thank you. If anyone wasn't aware, Mr. Tintori, on September 29th, resigned effectively immediately from council. So that means we sort of would have an opening, so I would say we need to make a motion to approve the resignation of Arthur Tintori. I'm sure Mr. Ray would like to second that.
Can you read it exactly as it is on the paper? It's on the sheet.
What? Where?
I just need to read it.
No.
I want him to read it and then we're not going to go there.
That's what I said. I move that we accept the resignation of Arthur Tintori effective September 29th.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion, we have a second.
I have a comment.
Sure.
Yes, I'd like, do we have the letter of resignation?
We do.
I've never seen it or whatever. But.
And I've never seen it. I've never seen it. It's not part of the agenda. So
My comment is.
We need no, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I do need the audience to stop. Okay, everybody needs to stop. Everyone, including you, stop.
My comment is, I mean, I'd like to thank Mr. Tintori for his years of service. But on the other hand, to be elected, that's a privilege here in the borough. I've been elected a number of times. And Mr. Romanovich resigned. He came and gave his reasons. I mean, stuff happens. Sometimes you move, sometimes you have health problems. But after serving, I think that the community and fellow members should be able to hear from the person himself if they're able to tell us why they resigned. I'm also a little disappointed on the timing of the resignation. If the timing was earlier, maybe we could have put it on the ballot. The citizens would have gotten the vote for who they wanted to replace it. If he resigned a little later in December, 4 of these members up here might not be in council and theoretically in January. So 4 might not be here. But if he waited to December, you have to replace someone within 60 days. So if you're resigning now, we're gonna have to replace in December the current council when 4 members might not be here. If he resigned later, the new council would be able to make that decision. But anyhow, I'm just a little bit disappointed that Mr. Tintori is not here. Well, I thank him. He worked hard all these years. A little disappointed on the timing because the citizens can't vote. The new council can't vote. It's gonna be the current council that votes in December. Thank you for my comments.
So I will read to you what was sent. This was dated the 29th of September. I did not see it until the 30th. I alerted everyone on the 30th. After Mr. Leland was able to get it legal. Was not asked to send it on. It says, I am writing to inform you that I am retiring from Borough Council effective September 29th, 2025. In my recent years, my wife and I have become fully retired. We are now enjoying time with our first grandchild, and in the last year, we have begun to travel extensively. Now is the time for me to fully enjoy retirement. It has been a great honor to have served as a member of Green Tree Borough Council for over 18 years. I'm immensely proud of all the accomplishments that Green Tree has had during my tenure. I have had the privilege of working with many great people, including council, Green Tree staff, police department, fire department, public works, and 2 extremely dedicated and talented borough managers. All of us working together make Green Tree Borough a wonderful place to live. Thank you, everyone, for giving me the opportunity to serve you. Signed. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone abstain? Any noes or abstains? Okay, that,
I'm
yes,
really disappointed with your little side remark there. Well, Mr. Tentori and I disagreed on a lot. If he was here and he was on in person, he still takes his hand. He was a friend. I think that, you know, the time that he served this community should be recognized. So for that comment, I would really appreciate your apology.
Mr. Ray, I knew he was the one that brought you to concert. You two were great friends. That's why I thought,
Right.
just like I wanted to give the motion, I thought
Yes.
you as a friend would second.
You're quick on your feet, Ron.
I,
Why, what did you think that?
let's not get into any arguments. I don't see any sense in this. But at the end of the day, Mr. Tentori gave 18 years as a person to this community. We all do not agree with everyone all of the time. And to respect the decision does not require any more arguments or discussion. It has voted. We will, Mr. Leland will talk about what does happen next. And we do have, dates and the whole process happens, and yes, everything will get posted. There's a whole process that needs to be followed.
Sure, this is somewhat familiar territory. We had 2 vacancies last year, but as a quick refresher, under the borough charter, notice will be published and posted within the next 10 days. I believe Ms. Miller has already spoken to the newspaper and scheduled to be advertised in 10 days, next Thursday, October 16th. Anybody who's interested in applying for the vacant seats, the advertisement will contain instructions. You can either submit your resume and application to Ms. Miller or to my attention. You'll have 10 days from the date of the notice being published and posted to do so. That would be Sunday, October 26th. I monitor emails on the weekend, so if you send it on Sunday, I will see it and forward it to council. We will then need dates for interviews to occur. I believe, after we saw the turnout that we received last year, it was determined we would advertise multiple dates, in case there's a large turnout for those seeking to be interviewed. That way we don't have to be here until 1 AM interviewing candidates. Judy, what are the dates?
November 10th has a full complement of council, and November 24th does have one member of council that is unable to attend.
But we would be here even stuff.
We would have one.
We would have one.
Perfect, so then,
I would ask that we don't schedule any interviews later than 8 PM. I think last time we had interviews scheduled to 9.
And can we agree on the amount of time then we would like to give to each candidate? That would give us, if we don't start until 6:30, that would give us 3 an hour, so. If we did 20-minute interviews, if you want more than that, then.
I just don't think it's fair to have somebody come at 9:30 at night.
When can we have a discussion now? When can we have discussion on looking at changing the process somewhat?
Well, the process is laid out legally. We have to follow that.
I think Ron's referring to
Yeah.
whether to have a simultaneous interview or interview one at a time.
I think one at a time is more appropriate. I'm okay with having a standard list of questions, making those public. So that it's everybody has a fair shot. They know what the questions are coming into it.
Okay, now see, that would be the
Yeah, that's
difference.
fair.
If we made the questions public prior, then it doesn't matter. However, the last time we did it, you had to admit, by the time you got to candidate 4, they were answering the same questions better. I mean, that typical, like, you would not interview for a job where you let the other potential
So
people,
My-
employees.
my follow-up question to that is, will we allow follow-up questions?
Yeah, you would have to allow follow-up questions, but.
Okay,
it was
that's
standard list of
a very nice
questions. It was standard list of questions, so.
That will
If you
be,
need to ask a follow-up to that 4th question, then I think that's.
that will be published ahead of time. Wonderful.
Perfect, so the interviews will be conducted, on the 1, maybe 2 days in November, depending on the turnout that we receive. Council will then have 60 days from the date of the advertisement to vote to appoint someone. Logistically, that lines up with the December meeting. And the vacancy cannot be filled at that meeting. It would go to a judge in the Court of Common Pleas to appoint someone. So hopefully everybody can
And
agree on a candidate and they will serve members appointed for the remainder of Mr. Tentori's term, which is, I believe, January 28th. 27th.
Well, I take that back, January 1st, but it's typically expires at the end of the year.
So can we remind everyone again, what is the advertising date?
So it will appear in the paper, the website, Facebook, all of our media outlets on Thursday, October the 16th. The deadline for applying is October the 26th. The interviews will be held on Monday, November the 10th. And the secondary date would be Monday, November the 24th. So we fill up the 10th. And then if we have overflow, I think what I'm looking for is how much time for each candidate.
What did we do last time, about 20 minutes?
20 minutes. If you do 20 minutes, you
I
can
think
go
20
3
minutes
an hour.
with, well, I think we need a break. And maybe there's a buffer of, I don't know.
It's up to you. It doesn't,
Well,
you know,
something related.
It's up to everyone.
we could do a 10-minute break because if you're ending at 8.
You need a buffer just in case one goes.
Yeah, one goes over. I would say it's fine, 20 minutes, 10-minute buffer,
Yeah.
which does allow everyone to go to the restroom, or if there is something
After
That
every
goes over.
interview, you want 10 minutes.
after the,
First two,
First
then
two.
10 minutes, then.
Well, 7 to 9, just think 7
no,
to
I
9.
think it's fair to start at 6:30. I do think, or even 6:15. I think 6 is early, like I can't, it's very hard if you run into any traffic on your commute.
We do need to select the time tonight.
Yeah.
With respect to how many we're going to hold, and if we need to use the second interview date, we can wait to see how many candidates actually applied. If we only have 3 applicants, not really, it makes the decision a lot easier.
Yeah,
I would think
We
that
have more.
Well, if we have
last time we
more-
had-
But I'm saying if we pick a start time, then we can see how many we can get on that first day.
But it would be unfair to say, let's go to 10 o'clock tonight, have somebody 10 o'clock tonight.
So
But if you have 20 applicants and you only have 2 days where you can get a quorum and 2
So
days
we're
that are
gonna
advertised.
randomly assign the dates? Or is it,
I think what we did last
Randomly
time,
assigned.
randomly assigned.
was it randomly assigned or was it first come?
First come.
I
I
think
think
last
it's
time was
random.
first.
I think we should randomly assign,
I would prefer to be randomly.
but I would not.
That's
I
fine.
think 8 o'clock is good. I would go to 8:30, so we end at 9. I think
Yeah,
it's really
that's what I think.
So if you
And
get
then
6:30,
6:30 to
6:50. You have a 10-minute break, you start at 7. The second one is at, technically, the fourth one is at 7:20. Which would then go to 7:40 technically, we could take another 10-minute break, start at 7:50. Right, and that would take us to 8:10, and then you could do maybe one at 8:10 and wraps you up at 8:30. I don't think that's too late, I mean, with all due respect, if they're interviewing for council, we do have very good days what they use. So it would be
We're
6:30,
all
and in that situation, we could get 6 interviews done in one.
So what are we ending?
We would, the last interview would be scheduled for,
About 8:15, 8:10.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that we go late, that this is the interview. I would want to have a job interview at 8.
I don't think you starting after at 9 is fair. I think an 8:10 is fine.
So if I understood it correctly, so we advertise on October 16th. Council has to appoint someone within 60 days. They have to appoint someone by December 16th. Otherwise, the judge gets involved. So this council will appoint someone before December 16th, most likely, and the person will fill the unfulfilled term for 2 years. So whoever council appoints in December of this year, which they have to appoint if they're gonna do it, will fulfill the unexpired 2-year term of Mr. Tintori. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that summary.
What were the dates, November?
November 10th. And November 24th.
Mr. Leland, are current candidates eligible for the vacancy?
They are, my recommendation was to hold the interviews after the general election on the 4th. That way, in case anybody who is on the ballot does not ultimately win, they'll have the opportunity to be appointed to Mr. Tintori's seat. It also avoids any confusion where if we were to host interviews ahead of time and then somebody who council likes ultimately was
But they would have to apply by the 26th.
They would still have to apply,
Yeah.
so.
I'm confused, sorry. So November 4th is an election. If someone does not get elected, then isn't the due date the following?
So if you are on the ballot and you still want to apply to Mr. Contori's seat, you have the ability to do so. And if you are, no, if they have to apply by October 26th, if that,
I got it.
if whomever applies is ultimately elected to a position, they can obviously withdraw their name from consideration.
So,
Understand.
Okay, so then can we agree that November the tenth is the primary interview date? That is when the 6 will be interviewed. If we end up with 7, then we will begin filling the 24th. But we will not go 3 and 3 because I understand.
No, so you would do
Wanna
the
make sure.
10? If
So
we have
won't get to
more
the
than,
24th until we have 7 or more.
correct. Yes, and they will be randomly assigned
Yes.
by Mr. Liu.
I am happy to randomly pick an order.
Mr. Liu does that. And we don't see the applicants until after the deadline, correct?
That's correct. What I've done in the past was whenever I received an email, and I recommend if you're applying, just send it to me. Send it with a read receipt, just out of an abundance of caution in case it gets stuck in my firm's firewall. Whenever I receive your application, I immediately forward it to Judy just to let her know I've received one. I'll keep a running list. I'll randomly assign an order. And then once that deadline passes, we can distribute all the material to council.
But we don't see it before the 26th, before, it would be the 27th.
So I keep it a secret.
Yeah, we don't know.
And when are you gonna set the schedule?
I can set the schedule Monday the 27th.
So if current members of council apply, should we put those applicants on the second date? Because if they apply, you put them on the first date, and then if somebody stays on council, you're gonna have to take that out and then reschedule somebody
Well,
else.
by the time that it's scheduled, so we can publish the interview list following the general election. So that way it's the most up to date, because my assumption is if somebody is on the ballot and also applies for Mr. Santori's spot and is ultimately elected, I assume I'm going to get an email saying they're no longer interested in seeking the 2-year term when they've been awarded 4 years.
Right, but you just said you're gonna establish the schedule before the election.
Correct. It's
Right,
subject
so-
to change. I mean, if we.
But I would say, why not just make it a constant that if a current member or somebody on the ballot applies for the vacancy, you automatically put them on the 24th schedule. Because if they
Because then it wouldn't be random. I know, but I see, I know exactly what you're saying, so he really shouldn't give
It's
the
just gonna mess up
schedule.
the schedule.
Yeah.
Like, it'll mess up that
We
first
made
day.
the schedule on November 5th.
Fifth.
That's fine too.
Does that make it publicized sooner?
No, there's no requirement that the list be public. That was a courtesy that was
That's what
offered
we
at the time.
decided.
Then that's, yeah.
November
November
5th.
Okay, that works for me. And I'm not even sure who's running, so I won't know if you are on the general ballot or not, so you can tell me if you are, so I can let you know.
I'll make you recognize my name.
All right, thank you very much. We are moving on to community engagement and communication with Ms. Deb.
Hi, so this first one, actually, this is an apology to Ms. Schwartz. I know that we've had some, residents come up and talk about interest in solar panels. One in particular, Mr. Koppler, we are actually in the middle at, the synagogue that I attend of a large scale solar project. So I did have a meeting with some of the staff there just to get opinions and understand some costs, and they were nice enough to share that with me. I just did not get a chance to send that on to Ms. Schwartz for facilities. So just letting everyone know that that is something that we are looking into up here, and I apologize, Emily. Looking at dates in December in the first or second week for the volunteer expo. So that everyone can take some time during the season of giving to give back to our community. I will share that with the committee. I'll schedule a date to have a meeting in the next week or two here. When the date and time has been confirmed, we'll reach out to all the groups that might be interested in coming and having a table, and people will have the ability to walk around, meet everyone, sign up. We'll have probably a general list as well for volunteers in the community, for people to become more engaged in that way. That is it for me.
Thank you. Next, we have finance and borough administration. So at this point, I, as president, step into the vacant role. But I did not attend their last meeting because Mr. Chihori was still here. So Ms. Schwartz is going to give the update from the committee meeting. And then Ms. House is going to do the motions.
Okay, can you hear?
Yes.
Okay, good. It's working now. I apologize, everyone. I would love to be there, but I am home with a fever and I didn't want to share it with the community. So that's why I'm by a phone. We did have a meeting last month. We did have further discussions, regarding the, let's see, the procedural reviews. Judy has been working on a, employee review, form to be used in the future, going forward, that is more standardized. We talked about, general policies. Let's see, the code official position, which we are hoping to fill in the near future. And some pension issues which will be coming up in the, chair coming up right behind me. Especially, I do not have notes with me, and I did not get a report from Mr. Chitori before he resigned. So I'm trying to follow by the seat, but I can't, so I apologize. That's all I have. Judy, do you have anything to add from that meeting?
So I was just actually pulling it out for you. No, I mean, you know, we're a little bit short-staffed right now, so that's something that we've been actively working on. And also preparing for a future retirement, so, you know, see on the website right now, we're currently looking for a building inspector, code enforcement officer. So certainly if you know anybody that may have an interest in that field, with something that I would love for you to share with them so we can get some qualified applicants. But, no, I think that's about it.
I have a question.
Yeah, you explained the, what the language is about the code enforcement. I think, I did get information, a contact from a member of the planning commission that was concerned that we were outsourcing that, but it is just a filler, we do not have a code enforcement officer, correct?
So there is actually a resolution on the agenda tonight, to add our engineering group to, be able to fill the gap for a zoning officer position. That's a service that they provide. We're required to have one. So we already have, the middle department, building inspection, services. They fill in for all building inspection stuff. And then whenever we get into more technical zoning type questions, that's where, our engineers can step in and support us on that. So that's why we have a resolution on the agenda tonight, which simply amends prior, resolution, adding them to serve a little bit of a gap.
Right, and that's the amendment, so there was also the, working with the pension actuary about our request from the police department, correct?
Yes.
I think that's all of it.
I have a couple of questions.
Mhm.
With regards to the vacancies, and filling those gaps. Ms. Miller, do you have authority to sign off on anything related to code enforcement and building inspection? Like, are you able to fill that gap at all?
Building inspection?
Okay.
No.
Building inspection for code enforcement?
Code enforcement, if it's high grass, yeah, I can send them a letter and say your grass is too high, it needs to be high.
Okay.
Which we've been trying to keep up.
Have we addressed the property on the Green Tree Road with a Greenridge?
Yeah, yes, we did reach out to them. Actually, that was being worked on by the prior person in this position. There was a potential need for condemnation. Did not make much progress as I.
Well, condemnation is one thing, cutting the grass is another. It doesn't take much for Mr. Leland to get a lien on the property and get somebody over to cut the grass.
So, yes, I did start reaching out to those people. They, it is owned by an elderly woman who is no longer, obviously in touch. And there's the son and daughter-in-law, not to get into too much personal stuff on the family, but been through some experiences this summer. I'm guessing maybe that's why that they've gone on. So, but
Great.
we did reach out to them.
The other question I have at the September meeting, actually, this goes back a couple of years. I've been asking, concerns about the amount of expense that we had towards third parties, including our engineering firm, who's getting another contract from us to serve as our third party code enforcement officer. The September meeting, Ms. Barron, Ms. Miller, you said that, this would be addressed at the next finance committee meeting, and I don't believe I heard an update about,
I wasn't, yes, I did want them to, yes.
Yes, we did not.
when are we gonna do it?
Well, I will be scheduling our next meeting in October, so you'll get an update.
So certainly we can look at that, and we did, I think I did provide an update on
You've been saying we're gonna look at it.
previously.
You've been saying we're gonna look at it. You said it's September meeting, we're gonna look at it, and we didn't look at it. I'm really concerned, and in the interim, the engineering firm gets another contract from us. They must see dollar signs when we pick up the phone.
It is, so like right now, they have one zoning issue that they're dealing with, and that's the wolf sign. So
They're also, who's doing the code enforcement?
I am,
What's the, I don't have, isn't there another name of an organization that does code enforcement? Right.
we,
Mine is-
code enforcement, high grass, I do the fence permits, I do the shed permits, I do all that. I don't have them do.
Okay, so the inspection, the permits on fences and sheds. And then once it's built, you go back and do the inspection, then sure.
You have to go back and do this, yes. And it
And are you
really,
qualified to do that part?
all you're looking at is to see that they put it where they could put it. One of the things that we're doing differently now is, that wasn't done previously, is, when somebody comes in for a fence permit or a shed, I look at our geographic information system and I make sure that they're not placing it within our easements. And that wasn't been done before. And if it is being placed in an easement, I require them to sign off on an agreement that we have reported. Jake actually has two of them tonight, indicating that if we have to maintain our infrastructure in the area where the fence is, they are responsible for removing it and replacing it.
We had an issue last year, or the year before.
We have fences all over town on our infrastructure.
What about decks? That's being
Yes.
built, so
If they are above ground, more than 3 foot, then it goes to MDIA.
okay, that's who the firm I was trying to think, of, MDIA, they're.
Yes, we've been
They're
on for several years.
Building inspector.
Yes, and they do all the commercial plan review, commercial inspections, residential plan review, residential inspections.
So when we do this analysis of the amount of third parties, I would like to see all of that, right? LSSE.
Yeah, we could do that. We could pull all those bills
MDIA.
paid, of course. And I will tell you that MDIA, the only time that they do that is if, like, in these situations where we have vacancy. So.
Okay. Alright, those general questions that I have is more.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so now we can move on to the motions.
Ratify the actions of the borough manager in paying the September 2025 invoices from the general fund totaling $72,936.62. Payroll account totaling $206,466.59. Educational Service Agency Fund totaling $6,030.51. And credit card July 2025 totaling $9,844.57.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Now it's up for discussion.
I have questions. There is, actually, this is a question. Related to. If this is not the right time to ask this, I'll ask it at a different time, but this is. In regards to the report that the finance director sends out, showing budget against actual. And I saw that, there is a payment of. Maybe for 120% over budget for emergency management plan. Comprehensive and emergency plan.
Maybe that's our contribution to MRSA.
It's, if you just want to know, it's 01-414-450.
Zero, zero, one.
01-414-450. It says comprehensive slash emergency plan. I think MERS is a separate line item under,
Dave, I can send you an email on that.
Yeah, Bertha is its own allocation.
yeah. Question about the credit card charges. So it seems like we're getting more and more credit card charges every month. Are those charges? Are they recategorized under the property department code? So for instance, I saw one on there that looks like it was police cameras.
Right.
Does that then get charged back to the police budget?
Of course, yeah. So what you're seeing is just the list of bills. And then it gets, when it gets put into the ledger, it goes to the department for which the expense is associated.
Okay. There's a charge on there, Ms. Miller, for Green Tree Rotary. I'm assuming your mileage for $88. Aren't the Green Tree Rotary meetings here local? Or is there one
Those
further
are
out?
the dues.
Oh, those are the
They're not.
dues. Okay, it didn't say. It
No,
said
I mean-
meetings.
You're right, it's a mile down the road.
Okay, which brings me up to the next one. Mr. Tintori has a mileage expense for LGA meetings and COG meetings for $55. $50.40. He's a board member of LGA, if I'm not mistaken. I'm wondering why we're paying mileage. We receive a monthly stipend. If I'm going to a meeting, I would just use that stipend. I'm wondering why we're paying the former member of council or the realize the expense, a member of council mileage for those meetings.
Because it's part, David, let me answer that, because it is part of the, maybe not the charter, but it is definitely given that Green Tree has always paid mileage if requested. No one that I know ever requested it. However, they always offered that when you're elected, you are offered a free filing cabinet for all your papers, and Green Tree was to pay for a landline for your house.
Okay.
So all of the, I'm just saying, that's been in place for the last 50 years.
From my experience with business expenses, there has to be a business related need. If Mr. Tintori was going to the COG meetings, the LGA meetings, coming back and reporting out from those meetings, great. We never heard any report.
He was the liaison to COG. That was,
No, we never had a cover.
agreed, but that he was the liaison to COG.
Okay.
Just recently.
Just this year.
Yeah, because Mr.
We didn't, I don't think we had one COG update.
We did not.
Okay.
He was, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I'm just for the record, he was technically, but
I saw a lot of expenses for softball. Is that part of the Green Tree rec program?
It is,
Are we? Going back to the earlier discussion, are we charging fees? Because we're paying umpires like $300, $250, $300.
the fees cover the expenses.
Who, is that a Green Tree program?
Jen,
No.
that is yes, it is a Green Tree program, adult softball, it's a Green Tree organized program by,
Do we know about, are they all Green Tree residents?
that I don't know.
Okay.
think
I
it's
would
predominant.
say most likely not all.
No,
Okay,
probably predominant.
predominantly not.
But I will say that it's revenue neutral, so she allocates the enrollment, like the registration fees to cover the expenses.
Okay. Couple more here. I noticed, our newsletter is obviously great, but I noticed recently we're moving to full color. There's a lot of color in that.
before it, I want to say in 2024, I had nothing to do with that. That's what I remember.
I'm not accusing anybody, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering. It seems like, that is an expensive route. And what was the thought behind going full color?
I did not know that, there was never a conscious decision on my part to go full color, so I'm not sure if that was just a switch with the printer. I'll have to talk to
Is that-
our staff member about that,
Yeah.
but
Please.
I will tell you that, I did recently, request and have received, haven't had a chance to look at it yet though. So that we can, going into the budget, so we can take a look at that, also understands that, we're spending $30,000 a year in newsletter, do we want to continue to do that?
And we can talk about that in the.
We can,
I would like to.
just so you know
what
what
this
it's
cost.
cost.
I'll bring that up in our.
Okay, great. And then two more. One, it looks like there is maybe a drug panel, a screening done. Was that part of a
Yes.
hiring
No, we
process?
did that
Is that a
as,
personnel issue that?
we did that as a wellness program for our employees and, our insurer provides a grant so that.
Okay, great. And then the last one, capital projects, Whitmer Associates, a bunch of co-stars on tracks. Is that buying equipment, is that police equipment? There's a couple
Yes,
$1,000.
that's basically.
Co-stars. There's code and everything there, but they did the Whitmer Associates.
Chad's standing up.
Yeah,
Let's jump in.
You can come up to the microphone all day.
Now I can only speak to what I know of, but it would be most likely all the handgun purchases be made a capital purchase of new firearms and equipment sites, and that's the provider was weighing.
Great. I mean, there's not detail on the bill sheet, so I don't know. Why it's great, thank you.
Are we getting cash back on our credit card purchases? I'm being serious, because we could and then donate that money to like some
I can check.
worthy cause.
Those are all the questions I have.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we have our questions, we had our time for discussion. All in favor? Oh, yes, sorry, we did have, sorry, that was my fault. All in favor, aye. Any opposed?
I accept for the $50.40 to work.
Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstained? That one passes.
Approved payment of the October 2025 invoices from the general fund totaling $445,845.04. Storm sewer fund totaling $15,562. Sanitary sewer fund totaling $15,895.57. Capital projects fund totaling $1,588.65. And farmers market fund totaling $544.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, we can move on to all in favor. Aye. Any Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, thank you so much.
Have resolution 1374, allocating the distribution of state aid funds. I move that we adopt resolution number 1374, allocating the distribution of state aid funds to the non-uniformed employees money purchase plan and Green Tree Borough Police Pension Fund.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Can we explain what this one is?
This is just, depositing the state aid provided by the state of Pennsylvania, which is based on, unit values per employee. And this money goes to help fund the pension plans. Both of which are solving.
Thank you. Any discussion, questions? Okay, we can have a roll call vote.
Ms. House,
Yes.
Miss Demi,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Miss Schwartz,
Yes.
Miss Barron,
Yes. That resolution passes. Motion passes.
And resolution number 1375, setting the contributions. I move that we adopt resolution number 1375, setting the contributions by the participants of the Borough of Green Tree Police Pension Plan.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or explanation?
This is just setting the contributions as required in the police contract.
Any discussion? Okay, can we have a roll call vote?
Ms. House,
Yes.
Ms. Demi,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Ms. Barron,
Yes. That motion passes, thank you.
I have resolution number 1376, designated the municipal code official. I move that we adopt resolution number 1376, designating the municipal code official under and pursuant to chapter 144, sections 144 through 4, part 2 of the codified ordinances of the borough of Green Tree.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? Can we explain this one, please?
As we had mentioned previously, we are required to have a code official, due to the vacancy, we do have a vacancy. And, so by adding, our engineers into this resolution, which was pre-existing, it just does that gap that is remaining.
Is this,
Temporary.
is this part of their existing retainer or are we paying more for it?
We would just pay them for it that I have, if I don't have anything to do with it, it doesn't cost us any. Same with MDI.
Okay, we have a motion, we had a second, we had discussion, when we have a roll call vote?
Ms. House,
Yes.
Ms. Demi,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yeah.
Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Ms. Barron,
Yes. That motion passes, thank you. And now we are moving on to infrastructure, I am so sorry, Ms. House.
Yeah, hold on, I had a computer dying issue.
That's fine.
Okay, so we have some, a few updates. So the 2025 road program is underway. All work is expected to be complete by late October or early November. As was posted recently on the borough website and the GoGov app, the tentative paving schedule is Robin Hood Road loop to Forest Drive was supposed to have started, this past Saturday, October 4th. Park Edge, from house numbers 118 to 161 is scheduled to start this week. And then Anderson Drive, Iron City Drive to Holiday Drive. They're doing the base repair and binder, also scheduled to start this week. Additional updates will continue to be posted on the borough website as well as the GoGov app. With regards to the sidewalk improvements to Green Tree Road, the phase 3 construction contract documents have been completed and work is scheduled to begin next week. Phase 4, which we have received a grant for, is set to be completed in spring, summer of 2026. We have received communication from PennDOT regarding the I-376 interchange project. So a PennDOT representative has reached out to Ms. Miller recently to advise that they will be in contact with her to schedule a meeting with council to discuss the letter of concerns that we had previously sent several months ago. And then we can discuss the questions and requests for additional information for the borough. The Trumbull Bridge project, the final design continues. And right after my chair report, I have a resolution that is required to be right-of-way acquisition. The project is expected to go out to bid in November of 2026, with construction beginning as weather permits in 2027. And then, as was mentioned already this evening, with regards to storm sewer infrastructure, borough staff and Ms. Miller continue to work with LSSC to develop solutions for multiple storm water runoff issues to reduce the surface runoff as well as flooding. And that is the end of the budget.
So with regards to the issue on Dale and Tomeno, was that, did you address that earlier? I can't remember.
When Ms. Walsh, I had questioned about it because that's in her backyard, so, so the status of that is, there's a swale behind those, it appears that there was a swale established at one point in time. And it needs to be pitched, so that the water is properly channeled to, there's like a storm retention style pond, area, you know, at the base. the area of the base where the water is to then drain, that can convey the water out of the area is also in need of some upgrading. So we're in the process of managing that and then the resulting with the conveyance system.
So when do we anticipate that that could be complete?
We're working on how best to manage that. We're not even done just with design that. The only thing
Have
that.
we started design or are we still collecting
Pardon?
data? Have we started to design or
Yes.
are we still collecting data?
Yes, and, we've already been to some televising of the storm sores that are down in that area. So that we even don't worry that, we didn't want to start doing some repairs of what was obvious, not realizing there were problems within the infrastructure. So it's making progress.
Okay. I emailed a picture of the sidewalk outside, of this building is when's that gonna be done?
It's either gonna be done, probably I would say towards the end of the road program.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing, I've been noticing a lot of dead trees. I don't know if it's under infrastructure, but what are we doing with dead trees? I know the mayor wrote an article about it.
He did, and that, I will say, Mayor, that we got some positive feedback on that. So
I mean, especially the ones that are hanging over Green Tree Road.
So some letters have gone out to address some of those. There's one that is very obvious that is, in a difficult position because it's like right on the property line and close to the right of way. A lot of people think that if a tree's in the right of way, it is the borough's responsibility and it is not responsible to the road. So, I have reached out to Duquesne Light on that particular one. That's pretty big on Green Tree Road. To see, because they're doing work on a utility line in the back of those yards to try to see if they can be willing to take it out. Because, the reality is if that tree would come down, it's gonna significantly impact their infrastructure, all the power lines on Green Tree Road. And then, it's an ongoing problem. We have to, dead and or dying trees all over town. And so, the mayor and I and the solicitor are going to, we're having a meeting probably within the next week or two to try to, resurrect, I'm not sure is the right word. Years ago, Green Tree established a shade tree commission, which has never been used. So that's an event for us to, we're trying to get, maybe we get it straightened out in time for the volunteer, event in December. To see if there are residents in the community that might have some experience with trees and gardening that, could bring their expertise to the table. That's part of why the Shade Tree Commission was established in the first place. So that's an avenue we have to help manage this problem, this situation. And so we're gonna be working on
Right. Thank you.
Resolution number 1377. Trumbull Drive Bridge Improvements of Bay and Easement Acquisition. I move to adopt resolution number 1377, authorizing the execution of all documents and agreements for the acquisition of the necessary rights of way and easements, including temporary construction easements for the purposes of replacement of the Trumbull Drive Bridge, and authorizing the filing of the declaration of taking any and all necessary action for the acquisition thereof as required for the Trumbull Drive Bridge reconstruction project.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or additional questions?
Yeah, what, can we just get more information, like how many properties, where are the properties, is there a cost associated with these easements?
There will be costs associated with it that they're all paid for as part of the project, which is,
Borough funds?
no, this project is 95% paid for by federal and state funds.
Okay, which properties?
So they would be properties that are adjacent to the Trumbull Drive Bridge. So there's some railroad property, there's, I don't have the list here with me now, but I want to say there were maybe 8 different properties that had some takings.
So the private properties, commercial properties?
Private, private,
Residential, commercial?
No
Any
residential. No residential. Yeah, because it's, either side of Trumbull Bridge, there's no residential there. Yeah. So it's all commercial and primarily managed by the state through a company that they're hired to do acquisitions.
And how much property are we talking about?
I would have known, I could have brought that, but if you want me to email you anything on that, let me know.
And we've spoken to the property owners.
So what will happen is the Keystone Acquisitions, I believe it's called, they're hired by the state and they will manage this whole process. This is not something we manage internally with staff. But they will send out letters that look like that come from me, basically just to say, as a result of this reconstruction of this bridge, there are certain property takes that must be completed in order to do so. And then they just go through the procedures of, they have to condemn the properties, or they do evaluation assessments of the properties. And then they just sit down and talk with property owners to negotiate what they'll pay for, whatever.
So, the expense associated with acquiring the property, that goes through.
It's all part of that.
It's all part of that program. Is that negotiable? Like
What?
the expense associated with the acquisition, like, did somebody just say this is how much?
The state hired Keystone Acquisitions to manage that process.
And part of that's valuation of the property?
Yes,
and
there's
then-
evaluation that take place, yes.
Okay, and what about the liability? There was a landslide near that area a number of years ago.
That property is not part of this.
But if there was so if we acquire that property and then, so that's owned by the borough.
Yes, that property goes that places.
I know, but so along that hillside,
Or right of there.
okay,
We have a motion and discussion. Can we please have our roll call vote?
Ms. House,
Yes.
Miss Demi,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
yes.
Miss Schwartz,
Yes.
Miss Barron,
Yes. Right, that one passes. Thank you. Ms. Schwartz, you are up with Public Facilities, Parks and Equipment.
All right, hello, everyone. Sorry, I don't know how I'm reading over speaker, so I apologize if I'm loud or too quiet. Some updates, the work on the borough building from the previous accident alert is now complete. The same contractor who's working on that will be tackling the dugout roof at Point Park Field. They hope to start work on that within the week. They're finishing up another job and then they'll be headed over there. We have the pool bid advertisement should be going out within the next week and a half. Bid specs are finished. We are still looking into the AV system for the borough building, getting additional quotes for upgrades there. We do have meetings scheduled with Point Park University regarding improvements they would like to make to the field. That will be taking place later this month. And the committee did a tour of the community parks earlier this month to look at conditions, see things that may need repairs, things that, might want to be put onto the list for future years as we prepare for budgeting. For Ms. Lachey, we did not make it to the nature center, but that is on my list this month. So I'm glad that you pointed out some things that we'll definitely be taking a look at those. But we just want to get a lay of the land, see where we're at, so that we can make plans for improvements for the coming year. So I think that is everything I have on my list. But we will be meeting again this month, and it looks like Ron and I will be trekking through the nature center soon.
I am now Mr. Tintori's position, so you feel free to include me on that.
All right, thanks, Chair.
Yes, I do have a question in regard to the poll bid. When we put it out for bid, did we reference a time frame when we want the contractor to work? For example, do we want the contractor to perform the work and close the poll, or do we want him to come in August? I mean, that might affect how they bid the project, their availability and all.
Judy, I think that's you.
Yeah, we did not set a time schedule because I think you know, when we talked about the full reconstruction schedule, we thought it would be very nice if we could open them, be prepared to run with it, say August 1st, and then be done by May of the following year, maybe mid-June at the latest. I think that's certainly a conversation that we can have with whoever the successful bidder is, if we get one. So, you know, the difficulty, I think, with it is that in Pittsburgh, we obviously have bad weather from time to time. And unfortunately, bad weather, like we'd have snow again and again, or just such severe cold that they can't work. Those do not count against the contractor's timeline. So if we say you need to be done in 8 months, but they have 2 months of snow and bad weather that they can't work, that doesn't count against them. So yeah, I think we need to wait to see what comes in and go from there.
And then just make a comment on the Point Park, that meeting with Point Park is October 20th at 6:30. And then the Public Safety Committee has them there at 7 o'clock, so I'll be at the Point Park at 6:30, but I'll eventually come to the Deer meeting. I think both of them are important meetings. The representatives from Point Park will be here. I believe their attorney will be here. Jake will be here, but in any event, they're both on October 20th, two important.
The Point Park meeting, that is, my understanding is that is not a public
No, it's
meeting.
not public, it's not public. I'm saying, I'll be there, but I have to be there, it's not a public meeting. So there's two important meetings that night, so I'm trying to attend both, but there's a little bit of conflict on the overlap. And lastly, we did get a citizen about the Park Edge part. So we probably should, Ms. Schwartz, we probably should reach out to her at some point, she had some suggestions for the improvements to that Park Edge part.
Yeah, I can speak with her soon.
Okay, thank you, that's it.
Thank you very much. We are now moving on to public safety and equipment.
Public safety and equipment, got a lot to talk about tonight. First is the speeding and running a stop sign issues that has been prevalent throughout the borough, at least the perception thereof. I have received several videos over the past couple of days of residents sharing their Ring cameras of cars flying through stop signs, and recognize that it's an issue. I think there's been a couple of comments saying the Public Safety Committee hasn't been doing enough. I'm gonna articulate here in a minute how much we are doing. Now, Chief Rannigan, Chief Goff is suiting me up as a fireman. If you want to give me a badge, I'll go up there and write tickets too. And I'll do whatever it takes. But in a couple of minutes, we're going to be approving a proposal from a traffic study professional to conduct traffic studies on School Street roads and Abaco. This study is going to provide traffic calming recommendations, including possible physical devices and enforcement options. And I recognize there are other streets in the community that are experiencing similar issues. So I've talked to the mayor and suggest that he considers directing the police department to up or increase our enforcement across the borough when it comes to traffic enforcement. As for the pedestrian crossing at Green Tree Road and Banbury Lane, the Public Safety Committee met. And we've asked the borough manager to move forward with a proposal and recommendations that PennDOT gave us. I think we're going to start pretty quickly, Ms. Miller, on line painting across Green Tree Road and Banbury Lane. We also asked Ms. Miller to look into explore options for additional measures like the signs that we have at Orchard and Western Avenues along Green Tree Road.
So we're meeting with the line painting people this week, but I do need to run it through that.
Okay, but we're continuing to research the options for the signs, and you're gonna give the Public Safety Committee meeting.
Yeah.
And so I also asked Chief Rannigan to join us this evening. So Chief, if you wanna have any additional comments you'd like to add, please. Thank you.
Hi, everybody, here again. Did talk to borough manager today. We had a brief discussion about the crosswalk over on Green Tree Road and Banbury. So
I told her to keep in touch with me if there's something that I can add to the conversation or add some of my experience with that, and by all means, let me know. As far as the speeding complaints, any speeding complaints, direct them to me. We do address these, we address them every day as far as the traffic complaints go. They're not all speeding complaints, and quite honestly, we get a lot of parking complaints too. Those are our two number one and number two. They dance back and forth between who is upset at the moment. So yes, we do address the issues, School Street in particular. We've spent a lot of time at that particular roadway. But we are limited in our access too. So then we ask the individuals that are complaining, if they do have a complaint, address it to us. But also we need the cooperation of the folks that are complaining. Allow us access to your driveways, allow us access to things. Just because you have a driveway and let us use it, doesn't mean it's an optimal situation for us to sit in and actually observe traffic. So, but if it does give us an option, I always put that out to the officers and tell them, this is a welcoming house that lets you use. Some people want to be anonymous, some people don't want to say anything. A lot of people actually live that way. They want the problem to go away, but they don't want to be involved. And I understand that too. That's not criticism, just reality of it. So by all means, if there is a complaint, send it to my direction, especially if there is a video, is what we do find sometimes. It is typically what I find through my experience, when you have a speeder, let's say on Sheldon, it could be a rogue speeder for one individual. Maybe it's somebody who just got a license, maybe it's somebody with a heavy foot, or maybe somebody just doesn't care. But if we can, and it's an isolated area like that, it's much easier to narrow it down and address that. And typically what the police department's position is and has been is compliance over enforcement. So if I recognize and I see that it's an identifiable vehicle and a driver, we will send the officers there, we will address the problem directly to that person and explain to them, this is your warning. At this point forward, if the actions continue, if they catch you, no crying about it, you can get cited for violations. A lot of compliance with that. Usually that works very well, especially if it is a youngster, tell the parents, and that activity stops. If it's a cut-through street, much more difficult, because that person may never be seen again. They might work for once, and then they're gone. Might be something that's routine, but we do address those issues.
What about, I know in the past we have some extra vehicles. Could we put those out in the community unmanned? Does that tactic work?
It does until people catch on, and really, we've done that in the past, and it is very difficult to say that it's effective. You know, do you see more activity, but then is it just a parked car? I know that tactic's been used on Green Tree Road, and again, one of the things that you find with Green Tree Road is the amount of traffic that is through there. It's not residents, it's not people who drive that maybe every day. It's just commuter traffic. They're not the same folks. If I did that on Sheldon, well, first they would see the car, and then after the second day, they're like, oh, it's just that ghost car, and we can always sneak a person in or something. But is it effective? It's hard to measure that.
So I think the message to the residents is, if you see an issue, contact the police department. They can email you or file a complaint via the website. But also to the mayor and the police department to just up the enforcement, the visibility, the exposure of the police officers out in the community, so that we build a reputation that you're not going to speak in the region or blow with your substance.
By all means, just reach out. We're very easily to get. We have several phone numbers, emails. You can get a hold of us. We're just stop in the station, grab one of us, and send it my way.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I just had a question, and it's not for the chief, it's just a general question, because we're talking about the calming, studies. I have a question about it, but do you want me to wait? That's fine.
Let's wait until we, make that motion.
Yes, that's still
there. Okay. So in addition, the police department, September 2025, they handled a wide range of calls in September, including 8 accidents, 14 animal complaints, 4 domestics, 3 mental health incidents, and 31 reports of suspicious activity. Officers also assisted with 37 ambulance calls and provided mutual aid on 11 occasions. Notable cases included a heroin fentanyl overdose on Green Tree Road, theft of diesel fuel from a local business, multiple storage units broken into at Easy Mini Storage, And unfortunately, an assault on an officer during a public drunkenness arrest, unfortunately, that officer was not injured. The department responded to several domestic disputes and disturbances at local hotels and apartment complexes. Officers also assisted with multiple juvenile and adult mental health crises requiring hospital transport. Now, overall, the department continues to address a steady mix of public safety issues with current calls tied to substance abuse, mental health, disorderly conduct in community spaces. Deer management. Yeah, so on October 20th, we're gonna have a public safety committee meeting that's open to the public. I invited Evan McDaniel, the Southwestern Pennsylvania game warden, to give us a high level overview of deer management. This is not, okay, we're gonna go out and shoot deer. This is to talk about what can be done, what cannot be done. I know there's been talk about birth control. I talked to him on the phone. He said birth control is a really bad idea because it takes decades, if not longer, for that to actually be effective. But there are ways, like was mentioned tonight, passing ordinances around feeding deer and not feeding them the flowers, but the salt licks and the corn and stuff like that that's going to attract the deer. But on the 20th, we're gonna give the game warden an opportunity to present that high level overview and also an opportunity for residents to voice their opinion, their concerns, and their ideas around the deer management issue. And the one thing that I asked the game warden to talk about is when do we know we have a problem? Right now, we know we have a problem because they're destroying our plants and our vegetation. You know, we see an uprise in ticks, but how do we, through data analysis, know that it's a problem? What is the actual herd size, and what is, you know, where's the current state and what's the ideal state for the herd size? What are the different options that we may want to consider in managing the herd? Emergency management coordinator, we are actively seeking an emergency management coordinator. That posting is active, and the deadline to apply is October 15th. Last time we checked, we had one application. Ms. Miller, do we have any additionals?
Yeah, still to that.
And that is the end of my general report. Okay, so, yeah, the proposal for traffic engineering services, I'd like to move that we approve the proposal submitted by David E. Wooster and Associates for traffic engineering services, including traffic calming studies, and traffic data collection for School Street, Alcohol Drive, and Rhodes Avenue.
Have a motion, do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Yes, just the cost of the issues.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, the cost is
The little cost.
$8,000.
So my question, I don't really have a specific question. It was more about, can we talk about what the residents on that street will see to know that this is happening?
I have to speculate. I'm not 100% sure. I would imagine that you might see some professionals out there calculating traffic volumes, number of cars per hour. That you might see speed detection monitor or something of that sort. You know, where you see this your speed limit, and it might capture that data. But yeah, I don't have specific. I know what the scope of work is, but I don't know what they'll actually see.
And we can post when that gets started on the website, just so the residents know. Or maybe we don't want them to be aware of that and see.
But when we approve this contract, I believe they can be started within 2 weeks.
I'll let them know tomorrow and then.
Are we able to choose if we want a weekday or a weekend, or in their opinion, would that not matter?
I'm gonna go with whatever their best practice is.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstains? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. And moving on, we have recreation and community events, with Chair Report Ron.
Thank you. Before you go, is the AC not working tonight?
I know, I was just in here thinking, oh my.
I thought it was my hair was so flashing, like, it was so hot.
Mine too.
Yeah. So when I saw you start me going, I was like, it's not just like.
My gosh,
And then
I thought it was
Mr.
just and I was like,
This
oh,
really asked me to get in the water, I was like, yes. I'm.
I thought it was just me, it was so embarrassing.
No, I thought for sure with my hair in the house.
It's usually freezing.
It usually is, yes. Okay, they've adjusted it, Mr. Pienza.
Okay, let me begin my report by saying that on September 22nd, we had a very productive recreation committee meeting. Recreation committee met with recreation committee, the other recreation committee and the recreation director. We started with a list of all the activities. I was very impressed by 4 sheets of paper, so many activities that our rec board puts on. And the general outcome of that meeting was that we valued the recreational activities. For the amount of money we spend, we feel we get the best bang for our dollar for our recreation activities because we're providing a service. We decided at that meeting, we definitely don't want to start breaking down to see if it's profitable or not. We want to make sure the service is there and people enjoy it and use it, and we'll worry about the cost later, secondary. The rec board does a tremendous job. We did talk about possibly getting them some help for the upcoming farmers market. We talked about possibly hiring a farmers market coordinator, part-time job, and that would probably alleviate some of the burden on the rec committee. But overall, it was productive. I think everyone was on the same page. I think we are going to continue to provide the recreation service at a level we are. It was brought up, it would be great if we had a recreational facility, a little better than what's at Wilson Park. So that's something we can look into. But overall, we're on top of this, and also, Mr. Ellen, thank you for donating to the wreath campaign. I want to state, I will like to make a donation also to help you out with that.
No,
So,
I budgeted every year.
well, okay, but well, thank you. I want to thank you personally. And the wreath program was always a great event, and I want to make sure that continues along with the senior picnic. And then the final outcome of the meeting was we did discuss that next year is the 250th anniversary of the United States, in case people forgot about it. And we are looking at doing some special things. In fact, I know Judy had a secondary meeting and started talking about some options. And we were talking about maybe July 3rd or June 27th. Possibly.
It's a big moving target.
It's very moving, but we are working on that. So as far as recreation, that's what I have. Also, I need to bring up, and I'm not sure if this is now on my committee still, however, the president of SHACOG has repeatedly asked that our fire, our police, they all participate with SHACOG. However, we are a member of the Charvel Cog. And they really would like us to reconsider moving back to SHACOG, because we deal with SHACOG, they're a part of us. And they asked me to publicly request that we maybe put on the agenda for next month that we officially move back to SHACOG, which is who we've been working with. And also, speaking of the COG, with Mr. Tintori's resignation, I assume he resigned from the COG director, so
Yeah.
we would have to temporarily appoint someone that's a COG representative.
I make a motion that Mr. Panza is our, prospect.
Okay, I knew I was gonna get stuck with that. However, I will.
Hey, you say it.
I will do that. However, I will. In next month, I will make a presentation of the pros and cons and why it would be smart for us to move over. I mean, may I ask, does the fire department deal with Shard West at all? Or is it mainly Shake?
They recognize shake off. So if there's classes, we can go through classes with Far West. We're all pretty much unionized, kind of.
Yeah,
But we don't go off of them, that's about all we do with them, everything else we're with the shake off.
with Shake,
Yeah.
yes.
But
And
they're
I
all-
believe our police involvement with like the response, SWAT response team and that. And why they're interested in having Green Tree is we're right in the center of their, you know, group. And when they do put together like the emergency response team, if we were an official member of SHACOG, that's gonna benefit. We're gonna gain a lot of benefits from moving, but I will make that presentation if we could have that on the agenda. And then my final question has nothing to do with my committee or anything, but I just thought of, Jake, that going back to the, council vacancies. If we're allowing possibly, you know, candidates to apply for the nomination, then if someone is actually a candidate, I mean, let me use Ms. Barron as an example.
Please don't use me as an
Okay.
example for anything.
Okay, then, okay, well, let me ask Mr. Ray, let me use Mr. Ray as an example. Just in case, by chance, that, Mr. Ray would be not reelected, but he would be applied for the vacancy. Then, of course, he could run for the vacancy. Can he vote for himself?
No, he would have to recuse himself from any vote.
He would,
Yes.
definitely, okay. Okay,
Conflict of interest.
to vote for yourself. Within,
Or even supposed to
So
recuse
you're
yourself
gonna
or-
try to fill the term when he's already on.
Because he's not.
Because he would be done,
Yeah.
and, or this person, not necessarily Mr. Ray, anybody.
I think I would go into retirement with Mr. Tory, actually.
So it would go into, because it's Mr. Tutori's spot that we're filling, not,
Would he have to resign for his last month?
no. I don't know, that goes to Jake.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
already on the
We
council.
appointed, right, on the Monday, if we appoint in December. The next regularly scheduled council meeting would be January, and that's when they would be signed in, or.
Yeah.
I will have to look into
I was
this
gonna
one.
say, give
The
us-
timing of it makes it obviously a little unique with the election, so. If we have any current members of council who do apply for the vacancy, I will gladly look into that issue.
and
report
I would like to look into it because I can recall 2 school board vacancies where they voted for themselves. Because, you know, they're voting for something, I know ethically, but yet,
You know,
Okay.
there's not a fiscal consideration, but best practice dictates like.
I totally understand.
You would follow Mr. Leland's advice.
That is the end of my report.
I have a question for you though, so
Yes.
you are, I'm a little confused of what you're asking for with the Shaycock. So are you asking that there is a motion next month to reconsider, and you're going to bring all the information we need
Oh.
and do a presentation to support that?
Yes.
So that, under my understanding,
Of pros for us to make the news.
so you want us to put forth a motion to do this, to say, yes, we should move forward
Yeah.
and go back over, okay.
Or no, and then that will be the end of it, like, you know.
So you wanna put forth the motion, that I believe. Can we put that under Mr. Kansas committee?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I was jotting down notes on,
So-
Pennsylvania.
Mr. Panza has committed to bringing a presentation about the benefits of changing our affiliation with the COGS, right? So since he's doing all of that work, it makes sense that we put it under, that he would bring forth that motion, correct?
That's fine.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, just a couple things. SHACOG, just so everyone in the audience knows what it is, South Hills Area Council of Government. South Hills Area Council of Government. They cooperate on buying like police cars, they get a better benefit. They cooperate on buying salt. They cooperate on different things to get a better price. And they have a SWAT team also. We don't participate in that, but they do have a SWAT team. But that's what the South SHACOG is. In regard to police activities, Mr. Ray pointed out the numerous police activities that our police officers do. So sometimes that detracts from the speeding tickets and things. So sometimes people think it's Mayberry that we only are looking after speeders, but as Mr. Ray pointed out, we have a lot to do and we're doing a great job on the schools. We follow the school buses, the police are there and pick up and departures. So in any event, I'm not saying speeding is not an issue, but we have a lot of mental health, domestic disturbances, thefts that our police officers are working on. We do have a small department. I'm not going to say the number. It's said we don't like to say the number again, so don't give the bad guys any thoughts. So, but anyhow, so we have, and not going to say how many are on the shift either, but in any event, our police do a great job and they will work on the speeding also. A couple other things during the last month, I attended the Garden Club Appreciation Luncheon. Appreciate the free lunch. Thank you to Garden Club members that are here. I attended Mayor's office hours. I'll tell you what the main concerns were in a second. I attended Oktoberfest. I'm going to volunteer next year to be the parking monitor. I was up there for like 3 hours. A lot of people come from different municipalities. They did not know about where St. Margaret's is, and it's right across the street. It says "Do not enter," but there's 30 spaces there. So as mayor, I gave them permission to, I said I would not give you a ticket or a tear it up if you get one. So I parked 30 cars over there. Our handicap spaces up in the upper parking lot, but they had other ones. So I gave dispensation for those 4 spaces. So I was, I think we do need a parking monitor, but everything else went great. It was a great, they ran a good Oktoberfest. We had perfect weather. I attended the Keystone Homecoming Parade. I also went to the game, so that was a good event. I also indicated coming up that I have a conflict on October 20th between Point Park and the Deer, but I'll try to do both as much as I can. On October 24th is trunk or treat behind Aiken School. The police department is going to participate. And I will be participating there. So they're bringing up one of those extra cars in case they have to go someplace, and I'll attend the extra car in case they have to go someplace. The main issues that I've been hearing about from the residents recently, I know we don't have a code enforcement officer, but we're gonna form some things out. But as soon as we get a code enforcement officer, we need boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. We have vacant houses. Today, I know Park Edge, they are working on the street because I was up at Park Edge today, they're looking at a vacant house. And I couldn't get to the vacant house because they were paving it. So they did start this week, so as a report.
It's done.
Okay, very good. So we have people here that live on Park Edge. So in any event, we have a vacant house there for a long time on Park Edge. I know which house it is, the one on Green Ridge and Green Tree Road, so we need to do things there. And house maintenance issues, a lot of people are saying people aren't taking care of their houses. In fact, someone came to Mayor's office hours, they had Park Edge and Sheldon, and gave me a list of the houses and their opinions, they thought were the most egregious. So I'll take a look at those houses, but once we get boots on the ground, maybe we can take care of the maintenance issues in the vacant houses. In regard to stormwater issues, during meet the candidates night, I mean, I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about sometimes people bring up issues. So one big issue that they brought up with me was stormwater. So I think on stormwater, I think what we need is to get a list of the borough easements. I know that we're cleaning out places on Dell and Tomano. But, you know, where are our responsibilities? Let's get a list. What are our responsibilities and what's the maintenance schedule for what we own? The other thing would be a lot of houses have had problems lately. Let's identify the houses with water problems. Are they clustering? I mean, major water problems. Everyone has some. So can we identify the houses with water problems? And then can we get a list of what's causing the water problems as much as possible? And then it's the borough responsibility or the citizens. So, I mean, this water is gonna keep coming with all these 100-year storms. So we really gotta start thinking about, you know, maintenance and what we can do to borough and identifying the different issues to see what can be done. A couple other things here. Let me see. The rec board, they indicate, met, but I want to give a shout out to Jen Matthew. She's your part-time rec coordinator. She does an excellent job. She's always boots on the ground, always accessible. Someone just, Miles, she's amazing. I agree with that 100%. That's a good part-time employee. That's what we're gonna find. So hopefully she maintains, here. Another, thought that I had on the upcoming budget, maybe we should allocate something for the Historical Society. Somebody brought that up. Not a whole lot of money, but the Historical Society, that's important. I mean, they do have paper, maybe they get it from the library, but I don't know, or computers and things. So maybe some kind of allocation. It doesn't have to be a great amount, but they do a great job there. And then lastly, not to be redundant, but to be redundant. I always bring up, let me see here, we got it right here. So the minutes from the last meeting, just gonna read my one sentence here, hold up here. Okay, Mayor Shank mentioned he thinks council should meet twice a month. He feels that there are lots of things to be discussed and will continue to push for workshop meetings each month. So that's my monthly push for workshop meetings. Okay, thank you, end of my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So for my, report tonight, it's a pretty short one. I just want to remind everyone on behalf of the library board that the used book sale is happening this month. The last, used book sale collection was this weekend. But you can shop all of the book sales starting, October 16th is the first day. That is a Thursday. The Thursday sale is the preview night. It's when you get in, get all the good deal, get the best books. There is a $5 per individual payable upon admission for that night. And then it will open for the general public, for everyone, without a fee on Friday, October 17th from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. It'll continue on Saturday, October 18th from 10 until 5 p.m. And then on Sunday, October 19th, that is when they host their special sale, which is from noon until 4 p.m. There is a large selection of hardback, paperback titles, all sorts of different things. Cash, checks, and credit cards are accepted as payment. It'll be here in this entire space. Leading the week leading up to the book sale, this space will be used for setup. If you have anyone looking for volunteer hours, there's always opportunities for volunteer hours setting up and during the event. During the event, we need people to help to keep things organized, help to take purchases out to cars. When you're setting up, it's a lot of organizing. If you're someone who loves to organize books, I mean, I recognize that that's my thing. That there is lots of space to do that, and even just to unload. So anyone who would need hours, any family who wants to come up, any person who wants to come up, you can reach out to the library. And that is it from our.
I have a question about the Library Historical
Yeah.
Society. I know we've talked about this in the past. What's the resistance to incorporating the Historical Society into the library?
Budget, money, time, people. Yeah, you're asking the library to take on an entirely different service.
I was told that Dana made a proposal to
To the library board.
the library board to take on the Historical Society.
To the library board, and the library board is at this point not interested. And it requires a large amount of money, time, and personnel. The library does not have
in the library or for the borough supports, can we work that and, or consider working it into the budget? Where we make the historical society, which I think is a great community asset, into the library program.
We've provided a lot of support to this society. We've assisted them with procurement of updated computer systems. We have put them.
Did we buy those computers outright?
They did, they have money.
The library.
I don't know if you're aware, they do have a budget.
The Historical Society is its own separate 501c3. So they have their own budget, years ago, through fundraising, and they do have people who donate. So, I'll finish. So we did meet, this point is years ago, to talk with the Historical Society of the work that they would need to do to dissolve the 501c3 if they were going to become part of the library, or have that work incorporated. Also, the amount of things that would need to happen, like when you are running that through the library, you need to have a collection policy, there needs to be some things in place. And the Historical Society, at that point, did not have that information to provide, to do. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the library runs 6 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year with a very tight budget. Adding more services onto that. Carol, if you wanna speak, or Cheryl, if you wanna come up and say anything too, you're welcome to.
You're doing fine.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank
Okay, that's it.
But we have provided, I've worked pretty closely with them to help them with any needs that they have. So, and I think they're pretty good. So. Okay, we're going to just, not to forget, farmer's market goes on through the end of the month, and this week is the, food truck is Nikki's Hot Dogs. So if anybody's been hot dog fan, this is your week to go over. Weather's supposed to be a little cooler, but still dry. There's a Halloween house decorating contest that's going on. You have until October 21st to, apply for that. And then the judging, I believe, is done by the Recreation Board. So if you're into Halloween and decorating, make sure you enter the contest. There'll also be a Halloween parade on Saturday, October the 25th from 5 to 7 over at the Green Tree Fire Station. That's residents only. Trick or treat, traditional day, Halloween day from 6 to 8. I thought you actually said that. And then I don't know if anybody mentioned that we will host a DEA National Drug Take Back. That's on Saturday, the 25th here at the Borough Building from 10 to 2. That's all.
One follow-up question, and it gets us into the winter, but I am fielding questions about light up night. I believe that is we'll have it the Saturday before Thanksgiving, right, the 22nd. So people are asking, right, we want to move all around, and I want to make sure that that is on record, that is the 22nd. So,
and it is light up Green Tree night.
Yes, light up Green Tree night, I know we can get, yes, you can't say light up night, it's copyrighted phrase. Okay, yes, light up Green Tree will be on Saturday, November 22nd.
Who owns it?
Oh, yeah,
Downtown.
the downtown.
And
owns
when
it.
does it run out?
50 years.
I'm not sure, yeah.
I don't think you can get it that long.
Surprise. Okay, so,
And on that note, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
all right, thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned at 9:57 p.m. Please